超强风暴侵袭英国，极端气候在冬天更加明显。2015年，英国冬天降雨量创下历史纪录，数百万人家园被大水所淹，而前几年都是破纪录低温，甚至来到零下22度。英国经历史无前例最冷12月，而极端气候的答案与变暖的北极密切相关。覆盖山头的白雪不见了，北极从90年代后期暖化的足迹比地球其他地方还快2倍。早在2007年夏天后，北极的冰已经少到创纪录，却一年又比一年少。
Since I came here in Svalbard, I can see that most of the fjords here don't freeze anymore in the winter. Some of the glaciers, remember, they were maybe 500 or maybe more meters closer to out, and they retreat quite a lot. So you don't need to be a scientist to see the sign of climate change, but we are the witness of them because we live here for a very long time.
This thing is going to break off all summer long, man. Look at this. Those peninsulas are just a matter of days, at most a couple of weeks. But
it was huge. It was 5 football fields long, 1,500 feet long, and about 300 feet above the surface of the water. As we're setting up the cameras, we also set up a video camera and had it pointed right there at that peninsula, and we just had it rolling, just in case.
Oh my God, a giant crack just formed. See that whole island, it's going away. There it goes, man.
let me tell you what we've been seeing out there. This is a glacier called the Solheim Glacier. We're looking down on it. Now we turn on our time lapse. You can see the terminus retreating, you can see this river being formed, you can see it deflating. You go back a couple years in time, that's where it started. That's where it ended a few months ago. Now down onto the side of the glacier, looking across the terminus, this is what we see. Look at this. You'll see deflation happening here as the heat takes away the surface of the glacier and the surface drops. At the same time, a stream is undercutting it from a glacier that's melting faster up valley, washing this thing away. The vast majority of glaciers in the world are retreating. Glacier National Park, Montana will need a new name. We'll be calling it Glacier-less National Park by the middle of the century because all the glaciers will be gone. There's such a strange, bizarre fascination in seeing these things you don't normally get to see come alive. We're up at the Columbia Glacier in Alaska. This is a view of what's called the calving face. This is what one of our cameras saw over the course of a few months. The action at Columbia is in part due to local glacier dynamics and in part due to climate change. Here's another time-lapse shot of Columbia. And everybody says, well, don't they advance in the wintertime? No, it was retreating through the winter because it's an unhealthy glacier. We realized it was retreating so far, we had to turn the camera upstream to follow the retreat. Then we had to pivot it again. And then, when we went back this past August, it was so far out of frame, we had to turn the camera one more time so we could still see the glacier. So that's where we started 3 years ago, way out on the left. That's where we were a few months ago, last time we were into Columbia.
实际靠近大冰川，就会发现海面上布满崩解的大大小小冰块。冰河就在我们眼前崩落。
You can see how deep the glacier is. What you have is 1/10 of the iceberg above water and 9/10 below. Tip of the iceberg, if you will. normal, but we have certainly seen where it's retreating much quicker, much faster in many areas. So yeah, I've seen a lot of changes as the summer progresses and it's so warm. We do see more waterfalls than we ever saw.
It's been the warmest year on record, a NASA scientist has said, and ice in the Arctic Sea is expected to bear the brunt of it. The Arctic is one of the most visible signs of a changing planet, warming twice as fast as anywhere else in the world. Over the past 3 decades, the amount of sea ice there has dramatically declined. This year, Walt Meyer says, we're on track to see the least of it. Without ice, the Arctic loses its cooling mechanism. The implications are both widespread and devastating.
玛丽安·隆德博士是奥斯陆大学附属气候变迁研究中心资深研究员。8年来，他持续关注气候变迁对全球和人类的影响。在他的研究当中，北极的暖化早已经超乎我们的想象。
The Arctic is warming more than twice as much as the global average. We've seen that over the past decades. So while the globe as a whole has warmed by about 0.9 degrees from 1850 to 2012, the Arctic has warmed more than double that. And in some regions, even more than that. In some regions of Alaska, even 3 or 4 degrees warmer than it used to be.
从1979年有卫星观测以来，每年9月，北极海冰面积最小的时候都会到达红色曲线，维持大约800万平方公里。但是从2000年开始，海冰逐渐减少，2012年竟然只剩下340万平方公里。
The Arctic is a very important part of our climate system. It acts like a refrigerator, sort of. It acts to balance the temperature on the Earth. Because it's so much colder up there, the warmth in the tropics will sort of be transported towards the north. And during winter, when there is no sunlight, it will be lost through our heat. The heat comes out from the Earth and will be lost into space from the Arctic. So there's always this way of balancing out the temperatures between the tropics and the Arctic region. Where we do not do anything to reduce emissions, we're looking at a very possible temperature increase of perhaps 4 or 5 degrees globally. But this means perhaps 10 or 12 degrees in parts of the Arctic. It's quite possible that the sea ice will be completely gone during summer already by 2050, so by the middle of our century. Of course, these changes affect the animals. For instance, polar bears and a certain type of seal, they depend very much on the sea ice. So without the sea ice, their natural habitat is almost gone. And they have a very hard time adjusting to that. And it's quite likely that they won't be able to adjust and they will perhaps disappear in the future completely.
That we have seen in the sea is, for example, the Atlantic mackerel. That's a warm water species living further south. 2 years ago, we fished it just in the coast of Svalbard. We see blue mussels coming up on land. We see new bird species, and there are also new plant species being discovered, all indicating that the Arctic is heating and the ecosystem is changing.
珊瑚大规模白化是因为水温升高所致，气候变迁导致地球的温度升高，其中93%的热能都是由海洋吸收，珊瑚会因此逐出让颜色艳丽的虫黄藻。若是海水恢复正常，珊瑚会恢复原有的色彩，但是可能需要数十年的时间。若是这种情况持续，珊瑚恐怕会濒临绝种。
在智利，因为严重干旱，蜜蜂数量锐减，让农民很着急。因为葡萄和苹果要开花结果，都得靠蜜蜂来授粉。小小的蜜蜂显示出微妙的生态系，可说是牵一发动全身。人类其实非常依赖生物多样性的环境，不过全球的物种却因为气候异常，加上人为过度开发破坏，面临消失危机。
尤其是热带地区下降的速度特别快。 那有5000多种的这个物种的评估里面，大概有将近1/3都是受到威胁，甚至有一些是濒临绝种的这个地方。
狐獴 一家人钻出洞口，吃早餐前先抱成一团大毛球。小狐獴挖出肥滋滋的蝎子、蜘蛛，吃得津津有味，就像狮子王的丁满一样无忧无虑。但这毕竟不是欢乐卡通，事实上，狐獴正面临空前的生存危机。
怎么办 ？Cecil 是个男生，他没有办法喂奶 ，baby 们吵着要喝奶，他也不知道该怎么办。
这只狐獴哥哥一整天没吃饭，饿到肚子扁扁，不停发抖。听到弟妹的哭叫声，满脸无奈。缺粮、疾病肆虐，栖地受到破坏。这是狐獴家族现在的处境。
上个月我最后跟基地相关的人联络，他们跟我说22个月没有下雨。
南非的克拉哈里沙漠每年降雨量不到250公厘，再加上气候变迁的严重影响，已经将近2年没有下雨。
3300公尺以上，其实它整个的植被就已经非常的稀少，植物的多样性也非常的低。其实这些植食性的昆虫不用到达山林之前，他们就会发现说，他们找不到他们合适的食草。
昆虫为了生存，随着环境变化做出了改变，往高海拔或是高纬度方向迁徙，而且速度远比我们过去认知快上2到3倍。
这个趋势是一致的，但是呢，在物种之间，它们的差别是非常大的。所以这个东西告诉我们的是说，他们可能会重新洗牌。本来我们可能是在一起的，可是因为我跑掉了，你没跑掉，或是其他人又加进来，所以他们之间的相互关系非常有可能因为这样子分布的改变而因此而改变。
To do what we can now in order to reduce the stress on the future generations.
I remember that for a very long time we would try to find who is the guilty person. Is it a human problem or is it a natural problem? I think today the question is not here anymore. We have to find out what can we do to avoid the problem to be worse than it is today.